What's up, everybody? This video is called the Sunday Setup. We're going to look at some warrants that are coming up on my scan as especially undervalued, and I'm going to rank them, all things considered, 1 to 10. Okay, so for people who are new to this channel, new to trading warrants, let's just review again. Warrants are kind of like call options on a company that are issued directly by that company. So what is the value? What should the price be of these things that are not in the money yet, but could potentially be, right? So it's kind of a probability discounted cash flow type of thing that has been formalized as this equation Black-Scholes, right? And I'm doing some adjustments for the conversion ratio here, right? Everything has a different time to expiration. I'm putting in my estimates of the IRV range, and then we're getting this estimate of what I think the price should be. Right, so for example, this rain, I think the price of these warrants should be somewhere between $1.05 and $2.40. And currently it's trading at only 15 cents. Right, so that's a really deep discount. It's trading only at 6 to 10% of what I think I should be trading at. Right, then over here we have the cost of extrinsic, right? And if we look at rain here, kind of looking at a different way, we can see that the stock is at $5.24 and our current warrant is only 16 cents, right? And so also keeping in mind the conversion ratio, we then get our break-even price, and we say, what's the progress to break even, right? And so rain is actually 46% of the way to break even, because once you pass break even, you're moving almost 1-to-1 delta with the underlying, right? So if we can get in for a really cheap price now, then that's gonna be very valuable if it does go up there, or even if it goes up slightly, the warrants, if the underlying goes up slightly, the warrants could really rocket up to a fair value for those warrants, kind of something similar to what we saw on Friday, where ARKit went up 11%, the underlying, and the really undervalued warrants shot up over 100%, right? So that's what we're looking for here. Keep in mind though, rain, Livewire also, they've been in this undervalued state for a while, so you might be sitting on it for weeks or months before it ever actually has some kind of pop like we saw with ARKit. Okay, so I'm rambling. I'm going to get into the list now. Okay, so starting at number 1, I know it's better to build up suspense and save the best for last, but I'm starting at my top pick right off the bat, and that is rain. Okay, RAIN is the underlying ticker, RAINW for the warrants. This is called rain enhancements, and no, these are not male enhancement boner pills. This is rain generation technology. Okay, this is pretty crazy. They somehow seed the clouds and make it rain more, and it just sounds pretty nuts to me. But the reason why I like these is because, as we said, it's 46% of the way there already. Dirt cheap price at 15 cents. And we still have over 4 years to go in this, so it's going to decay very slowly, and I think we got room to run. It's a small market cap, really niche, interesting kind of company, so let's see how it goes. Rain. Okay, number 2 is Borealis Foods. Okay, these make some kind of shelf-stable ramen products, almost like cup of noodles type thing. And these ones, you know, between 11 to 26% undervalued, according to my Black Scholes. Over 3 years left in these. We can scoop these up at 7 cents. Really, really cheap. And we're thinking even right now these should be worth between 28 and 64 cents. And of course you got more upside if the underlying goes up. But keep in mind, guys, any of these warrants that are undervalued right now, you know, we're betting on that equilibrium, you know, mean reversion coming back to a fair balance, right? And so, yeah, the warrant price could come up for it to be fairly valued, or the underlying could come down, right? And then the warrants might go down also with them. Or we find that, oh, the warrants are not undervalued anymore, and we just kind of need to cut our losses or just dump our flat position. But right now, it's coming up as undervalued, so I'm buying it up. Borealis Foods also 20%, 23% to break even. So, and we got 3 years left, so a little bit more of a long shot, but also a lot cheaper at only 7 cents each. Something to think about. Alright, number 3 is Livewire. They make electric motorcycles, spin-off of Harley-Davidson, and kind of a risky bet just because their financials, right? They spend a ton of money, don't make a ton of profit, don't even make a ton of revenue, and it's been in this undervalued state for a long time, so I don't know. The chance of it having some kind of crazy Arcade style pop, personally, I feel like it's kind of low, but it's coming up as so undervalued on my Black Scholes radar that I had to rank this highly at number 3. And we can see from cost of extrinsic, right, dollars per point. This is 46% of the way to break even, and dollars per point extremely low, which is a good sign. Meaning that this bet that we're taking, that hey, we're betting on this progressing towards break even and even more, we're getting that bet really cheaply, so that's a good thing. Okay, moving on to number 4. Number 4 is ANNA, AleAnna. It's a company. They're a Texas oil company doing gas exploration in Italy. So random. Seems like extremely sus to me, but hey, I mean, the underlying is up at 420, and the warrants are only at 22 cents. So, math is kind of there. We're thinking these warrants should be at least $1, maybe up to 170, depending how high you put the volatility expectations, right, for this. 4.2 years left, so a ton of time left, which is good. You can hold these for a while if you need to. But yeah, that's ANNA. ANNA coming down a little bit higher here, so 37% progress towards break even. A little bit higher here in the dollars per point list at 0.6, which is why I ranked this a little bit below these first 3. But yeah, I think this is definitely a good pick. 22 cents I think is a good price. You could even put some limit orders, you know, if you can get it at 20 cents, 15 cents, 10 cents. Might as well throw some limit orders in just in case it goes down there, right? Moving on, number 5, we got VWAV, which is Visonwave. Okay, they make kind of drones, defense, contracting, right? Another sort of very suspicious, shady, evil sounding company. But the price for this is already at $8, okay? And we have almost 5 years left in these, so this is a recent SPAC. And you know, once this crosses over 11.50, we're gonna get almost 1-to-1 delta. So to be able to grab these at 60 cents right now, I think is gonna be a very good price. VWAV 0.9 on our dollars per point. This one is 70% on its way there, right? So I like with VWAV. Visonwave. Okay, number 6 is KWMWW Media. This, I cannot believe that I'm saying this, that I'm buying warrants for this K-pop, Korean pop music IP media company, but apparently that's what it is. This one also relatively recent SPAC, right? There's 4.6 years left in these, and the stock is only at 2.3. So, oops. KWM. So I'm just trying to show you that it's not very far along. 20%. Okay, dollars per point is at 0.5, which is not too bad. The warrant price is really low, 10 cents. So let's see. Definitely got some limit orders here just in case it goes lower, but I think 10 cents is going to be a pretty good one for this. Number 7, we have DAVEW. DAVEW Inc. is a digital banking platform, you know, something that just tries to be really simple, easy to use for these young kids that just want AI and straightforward banking. This one is DAVEW down here. Okay, this one, DAVEW is 65% on its way to break even, and $1.42. So this is the most expensive warrant we've seen so far. The current stock price is $2.38, so I think that's kind of why we're seeing so much here. We also have a 32-to-1 conversion ratio here, which I am factoring into this Black-Scholes formula. But we're thinking that even though this is 140, you know, we're saying that the real value should be around $7. True value. So DAVEW, already there. It has a massive market cap, so maybe not gonna move too much as fast as the other things, but yeah, I think this could be a good one, DAVEW. Okay, moving on. Number 8, we have Pagaya, PGY. This one also kind of a digital banking platform. Their Pagaya is more into the lending side of things, doing some interesting AI lending stuff. These ones also coming up around the 20% undervalued side. These we only have a 1.75 years left, and that was also with Dave only 1.3 years left. Okay, so these are going to be a little bit shorter in time, and you know, we're looking at this progress, right? Pagaya is only 30% progress to break even, right? So if they don't reach 100% break even by the expiration, which is in a little under 2 years, then these warrants are going to be worthless, completely worthless, worth zero, not any more than zero, okay? And so you have to factor that in, right? As it gets closer and closer, the probability that they're gonna expire worthless gets higher and higher, okay? So you can pay 63 cents for these now, and they might be worth zero in 2 years, okay? So 31% is not far at all, right, towards breaking even. That means they need to 3x, right? If they're trading at $4 right now, they need to double to $8 and then do another $4 after that, right? That same jump they need to do twice in that 2 years just to break even. But at the same time, we're saying, yeah, these are trading at 63 cents now. You know, sure, there's a chance that they expire worthless, but 2 years is a long time, and there's also a chance that they expire deep in the money and they're worth a lot, right? So we're saying that the value now should be around $2.8. Okay, so to be able to get them at 63 cents, sell them at 2.8, that's some nice bank right there, okay? Of course, it's probably not going to happen that easily, right? Nothing's that simple, but that's the goal. Okay, number 9 is AEVA Technologies. They make LiDAR sensing technology for autonomous trucks. Really cool technology, kind of pie in the sky. You know, who knows if this is all smoke and mirrors or if it's legit, but when I watch videos of their CEOs and people talking, I really get inspired and think it's a cool thing. And I actually rode these warrants up a few months ago from sub 10 cents up to the $1 that it was at. Then they kind of crashed down to the 30 cents area. Right now, looks like on Friday they closed at 34 cents and the stock is at 18. But keep in mind though that these have a 5-to-1 conversion ratio. So even though the stock is at 18, they're still pretty deep out of the money. So it's only 32% of the way to break even. Okay. The other thing, even though I really like Aeva as a company, these warrants in particular expire in 0.47 years. Okay, which is really, really short. The shortest of anything on my list here today. So, yeah, they don't have much time, and as that time ticks away, that theta decay is going to pull the warrant price closer and closer to zero. So on the one hand, that's bad because, you know, it has to make moves, otherwise your losses are just going to grow. But on the other hand, you know, that theta, if Aeva goes down or just goes sideways, these warrants could get more undervalued, is what I'm saying. The price could go down from 34 cents to 24 cents to 14 cents, right? And depending on how much time's left and depending on where the underlying is, Aeva, it could still be a buying opportunity, right? You don't have to hold these to expiration, and they don't have to ever be in the money for you to make money trading them, okay? It's kind of dangerous doing things like that, but these things that are deep out of the money are often the ones that are mispriced and where we can find some opportunities to make money, in my opinion, right? Okay. And that will feed into the last one on our list today, number 10, which is Lanza Technologies. They do some kind of crazy carbon recycling technology. They take waste from like drilling or something, just absolutely ridiculous idea of this company. But there's about 2 years left in these. I'm putting it at 20 to 25% of what the value should be. These are very, very, very deep out of the money, okay? The current stock price is at $17, but the thing is that this company, after issuing the warrants, they went through a 100-to-1 reverse split, okay? So there's a 100 conversion ratio on these, meaning the break even for this is at $1,150, $1,100, and it's at $17, okay? So getting up there in 2 years, pretty unlikely, right? It's 2% of the way towards break even. But the warrants themselves are only 2 cents. So if you feel like gambling on a home run bet, potentially these Lanza warrants at 2 cents could be fun if you just like having thousands of shares of something. I'm putting this, even though these are super insanely deep out of the money and probably will never get there. I don't think they're completely worthless, right? According to my calculations here, 8 to 10 cents is a fair amount, using 0.5 and 0.8 as IV estimates, which I think is relatively reasonable for IV. So those are okay. So those are my top 10 picks. Sunday, September 21st, 2025. Keep in mind, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Technically, I have to say none of this is financial advice. Do your own research. You win some, you lose some. You're right. And sometimes you just gotta wait for it. Sometimes you gotta know when to get out. I could share some of these. Here's a screenshot of, this is a screenshot of Thinkorswim, right? Owned by Schwab now. The platform where you can put in these trades where it's just a blast all trade, where you have lots of orders. So I have buy $25 of this at market, right? It's just a day order, so as soon as the market opens Monday at 9:30, this is going to get filled 25 cents worth of this rain warrants. Then if the price goes down to 15 cents, I'm going to buy 25 more. If the price goes down to 13 cents, I'm going to buy 25 more. If the price goes down to 10 cents, I'm going to buy 25 more. If the price goes down to 6.5 cents, I'm going to buy even 25 more, okay? And these are good till canceled orders, so it's going to stay waiting to get filled for months in case this ever goes down to there, so I can dollar cost average in and not have too many losses, too high of percentage losses, unless it really completely tanks, right? Which is always a possibility. And then, you know, if I find myself up, like for example, the ARCIT position, you're up hundreds of percent, right? Or even just 40-50%, right? Sometimes I like to do this where I put in trailing stops, some at 5%, 10%, 15%. So if it ever goes down by that much, then we're just going to sell off at market price, right? And so we're going to basically lock in our gains at that point, but also let it keep riding up if it's going to keep going up, okay? And then the different amounts are just kind of giving it different amounts of wiggle room to bounce around and keep going up. And right, if depending on how it moves, you can always adjust these percentages later, but I think it's nice to have those in just to really lock in gains in case it completely crashes. Then you'll have some cash on the side to be able to jump back in when it shows up as really undervalued again. Okay? So, that's all for today. As always, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, what you're buying, what you're selling, if any of these recommendations helped you, and see you next time.